Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. 3 reasons to be bullish on silver despite the short squeeze failure. Let's explore. Yes, it looks like the madness is over with, at least in the paper electronic markets and trading with applications like Robinhood and other trading houses. It looks like all of these short squeeze efforts have failed, but especially silver that barely got off the ground. And again, I'm referring to the online trading of stocks, day trading, as it were. We saw that with GameStop to try to send a message to the hedge fund managers and the like. And much the same was attempted with silver. But when Robinhood and other applications limited trading, well, people turned towards the physical. And those orders are still outstanding. People have not received their orders yet. And when they saw the price go down, how many of those people canceled the orders? My guess is maybe not many. And if it really was about sending a message, they may keep that silver. And who knows what the reaction will be to it once they receive it in hand. If these are new accounts of new investors in the physical metal, which I thought was quite interesting and fascinating and encouraging to see people actually buy physical silver, that will send a very powerful message for sure, as long as they understand what they are buying. You know, obviously, silver itself, it is an element. It is made up of single metal that has a purity that's mostly stamped on whatever piece you get. Nonetheless, there are premiums tied to it, and the fluctuation of spot price, is illustrative of silver's volatility. And so, as long as folks understand that, especially after I've posted a few educational videos, sort of emergency issue videos for some of these newer investors out there, and I use that term loosely because silver really should not be seen as an investment, as I've discussed before. And because I've been relatively cautious, in fact, when this thing first started, I've predicted that it would not last. It turns out that is the case. But there are the aspects of it that are continuing on with these outstanding orders. Are there orders continuing to be placed? Well, we've not heard some of the latest reports from bullion dealers. My guess is some of that has lightened up a bit, although a lot of the warnings are still on many of these websites about the increase in orders, and so they've raised their minimums before free shipping. And the premiums are still very, very high for these products. Will people continue to buy the physical? We shall see. But there are, I think, some reasons to be bullish for silver, despite this silver short squeeze that we saw for a brief moment of time. And I say this on the piggybacking on what some folks criticize me for, always talking down on silver and being negative on silver. But I'm not negative on silver. I feel like I'm just being realistic about it. And because I love the metal so much, I believe it provides a better service to tell the truth about it and be as realistic as I can about it so that people don't get their hopes up in case of a downturn, which we did see a downturn, a very quickly downturn, as I predicted it wouldn't last, at least in the paper markets. So we shall see. But there are some reasons to be optimistic about silver. And I think that those reasons will have stood really beyond and above this short silver squeeze that we saw, which really was a blip in the grand scheme of things. The first one is increased industrial demand. We know that without a doubt that there will be industrial demand, and really no matter what the economic situation or outlook is, because of government spending and the new Biden administration's push for climate change solutions, which means green energy. And green energy means that there's going to be more demand in the solar industry and as well as electric vehicles, EVs. And so that means that there's more silver going to be needed on that aspect. Now, the fact that there's been a great physical demand for rounds, coins, and bars is certainly adding to that frenzy, which means that more than likely prices are gonna climb back up, at least at some level. In fact, I still refer to my prediction video for where I see silver throughout 2021, and that is somewhere between $30 and $35 an ounce. I'm holding to that. This little short squeeze was a blip in that radar, but there are going to be movements, I believe, and increased demand in that regard on the industrial side. Then the second reason is because of inflation fears on a revitalized economy after we get through the worst of the coronavirus. I think the coronavirus is going to stick with us through the whole year. There will be concerns regarding it throughout the whole year, even if they distribute these vaccines and the like. It's going to have some sort of effect on the economy, and some states, may not completely open up all the way. Mask mandates, that type of thing, new strains, mutations that will certainly dominate some of the news cycle throughout the year, and that is going to weigh. But I think there'll be less of that as time goes on, and as the economy, the engines of the economy move again. We did see new jobs come in this month, which I think is encouraging, but it's just a start. And we're going to see a revitalized economy that will mean that there'll be the velocity of money will increase. That currency being spread out there is currency that's going to be injected and going to cause inflation, and some fear hyperinflation. I don't know that I would go that far right now, because that prediction has been made for so long now. It almost seems like it's people crying wolf when they say it these days. So I'm going to be careful about saying hyperinflation, but I think we can agree that there will be some sort of inflation coming at some level, which is going to bode well for the prices of silver throughout the course with that inflation. Then the third aspect is going to be more liquidity. We're already seeing it, starting to see it now. We're seeing the birth of yet another coronavirus relief package that will be coming forward, and that is going to mean that there's going to be more currency injected into the economy, and on a version of $1,400 checks per person or per some group of individuals, enough of it out there that it's going to be put in there sooner rather than later, which means that that's going to potentially cause inflation as well. Piggy that back, or one before the other, before the second reason, is that's going to speed it up, and we will see prices of silver rise. And so those are the things to keep in mind why we can be bullish or optimistic for silver prices in the coming year here. And that is something that we must consider, but also understanding that through these times we will see pullbacks. There will be sectors, reports that come out. I mean, every time we get good economic news, it tends to strengthen the dollar, which tends to weigh on gold and silver. So there will be that pushback as well throughout this. But in the end, it's demand that conquers all. And I think that this year especially, we could see that demand outweigh the dollar index pullbacks for silver this year, which is why my philosophy has not changed for silver this year. And that overall, I see it as a positive, moving in the upwards trajectory for silver into the 2021 here with what has been going on. Now, obviously, some people can come on and make a crazy prediction of, $40, $50 silver. I'm not going to go there, but I don't think it's out of the realm of any possibility, especially $40 silver, considering what's going on. But there's been a lot of pullback on silver, and some people attribute that to largely manipulative forces. But I think there's a lot in the industrial sector, in the natural market, and the complexity of silver market in general that really weighs and why we see silver's volatility as such. I mean, really, it's more of a commodity these days than it is as a hedge or as money, dormant money, I like to call it. And so with that aspect, you have to keep that in mind and make decisions accordingly as to how you spend and what kind of risk you take in holding it or selling it before the next move in one aspect. But the thing is holding it, and unless you need to liquidate it, holding it while the prices drop, well, it's just numbers on a screen. Until you actually sell, you are not taking advantage. You are not losing out on the price. Same thing if the price goes sky high. If silver would go to $50 an ounce, and I have a piece of silver here that I may have paid, $18 for, well, until I actually sell it, I'm not going to realize any profits from it. But I have the metal in hand, and I see it as an insurance policy, as a savings account, as it were. And so that's why I have no problem holding on to it, so that I have it in case of an emergency. And I think more people thought in that direction, in that terms, I think it'll be a lot better for accumulating silver. As I've always said, I've learned through time that gold is a better store of value, less volatile, and I think that's one of the aspects of it, to where you can have something that's safer in hand in terms of that hedge and savings account over time with gold. So I encourage all the silver stackers out there to diversify into some gold. So there you have it. That's my thoughts on what I believe that there are 3 reasons to be optimistic on silver despite short squeeze failure. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.